and will hold a news conference later in the morning in Copenhagen. Well, there is no doubt the following story is for real. Nothing hoax about this. Some very big names at home and on the international scene are calling on Canada to do more to fight climate change. So this is a story that's just broken in the last few minutes. Margo McDiarmid is following it today. Who are these people, Margo, and what are they saying?
Well, Heather, a remarkable group of people. It's sort of a group of 28 people, leaders, former heads of state, writers, actors, Nobel Prize winners, who are all urging Canada to do away with its reluctant environmental image. Now, these people include former Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev, our former Prime Minister Kim Campbell, our writer Margaret Atwood, actress Neve Campbell, John Poliani, who is a Nobel Prize winner, Avram Lazar, who's head of Canada's Forest Products Association. They're part of a sort of an umbrella group called Power Up, which is urging Canada to move forward towards renewable energy and renewable technology. And they write a letter to the Prime Minister, and they're urging Canada to do more, to step forward and become a leader in the whole issue of reducing emissions and doing something about providing renewable energy. Here's a little bit from their letter. They say, "We urge you to dispel the perception that Canada is being defeatist about prospects for tackling climate change and building a clean energy economy." And they sort of urge Canada to sort of galvanize the rest of the world, not just in doing away with coal, gas, and oil, which are dirty fossil fuels, but moving towards a renewable energy industry. And they say because Canada, of our geography, our location, and because of our natural resources, we're a key country in leading the movement towards a new type of industry. So these types of open letters, Heather, are becoming more and more common. But this collection of people is certainly remarkable and something that it will be hard for the Prime Minister to completely ignore.
Okay. Changing from that document to the document that we got our hands on yesterday, CBC, of course, obtaining a leaked cabinet document that says the federal government is considering abandoning some of its emission reduction goals. Bring us up to date on where that stands. This was something to be presented to the Harper cabinet. So what did it say in the document, and has there been any response to it or any changes so far?
Well, essentially what this document is that it takes a look at what Canada was planning almost 3 years ago. You'll remember the government brought in its plan. And essentially it says, it looks at that plan and compares it with what's going on in the U.S. And it says that Canada, in fact, needs to weaken its targets to fit in with what the U.S. is doing. Because what the U.S. is doing, according to this document, is that it's allowing some of the more trade-sensitive industries like mining to have lower emission targets. In other words, they don't have to cut their greenhouse gases quite so much. So this cabinet document says that Canada should do the same, and it should essentially weaken the targets for our oil, gas industry, mining, and the oil sands. In fact, make those targets up to 3 times weaker because they have to fit in with what the U.S. is doing, according to this document. So in fact, instead of cutting our emissions, it would allow our emissions, especially in the oil and gas industry, to rise by 37% over the next decade. Now, Heather, this is not the plan. This is a document that's suggesting this, but it's serious enough that it actually went to Cabinet. So we're hoping to ask Jim Prentice, the Environment Minister, about this in Copenhagen. He was asked about it yesterday, but he said he couldn't verify the document, so we're going to try and get him again today.
Okay. Further response to come, likely. Thank you very much, Margo.
You're welcome.
You're looking here at an Illinois prison that's a long way from Guantanamo Bay, but soon it will house inmates from that controversial U.S. detention center in Cuba. The White House is expected to confirm the move today. Susan Bonner is in Washington, and